Hey, let me tell you something that's been on my mind. You ever heard the old saying by Abraham Lincoln? You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time? It's simple, right? But there's more to it than just a catchy quote. We've all been taught this idea that we're strangers in the world, right? Like we just happened to end up here. Like we're just this tiny part of a vast, impersonal universe. We didn't ask to be born, after all. We didn't sign up for it. But somehow, here we are, tangled up in this whole thing. And here's the thing. We've been conditioned to think that the whole world around us is separate from us, that it's something other. People say things like, I didn't ask to be born, or your problems are your own. It's just like the world is something we happen to be passing through. But is that really true? The truth is, and it might catch you off guard, but you're not separate from everything else. Not really. Not in any meaningful way. What if the you think you know is actually inseparable from everything around you? Think about it. Front and back. They go together. You can't have one without the other. And that's just the beginning of it. There's this deeper connection we don't always see. And once it clicks, it changes everything. Take space, for example. We all think of it as nothing, right? But it's not. There's no such thing as empty space. Even when we can't see it, there's something there. Everything is interconnected in ways we don't realize. When we think we're isolated, we're not. We're always connected to the world around us. You can't have a figure without a background. You can't have an environment without living things in it. It's all one big system. Now, I know that might seem strange, but stick with me here. Because when you realize this, when you really understand it, it shakes you up. Anxiety, the kind that keeps you up at night, comes from this fear that one thing could cancel out the other. Like, what if each good and bad cancel each other out, and there's no difference between the two? What would that mean for us? Let's talk about fear for a second. We've all been there, right? Scared of something. Our minds start imagining all kinds of worst-case scenarios. We get so caught up in these fears that we lose sight of reality of the entire situation. But here's the thing. The way to deal with fear is not to avoid it. You can't run from it. Because if you do, it only gets bigger. The trick is to face it head on. And when you do, you start seeing things differently. Here's a story. He had no patience for anyone who would fall outside the line, or anyone who didn't toe the line. But guess what? He ended up making himself sick, drinking too much milk. Sounds odd, right? But it shows that even good things, when taken too far, can cause problems. Milk's fine in moderation, but too much can make you sick. Same goes for things like electricity, fire, cars, or planes. They can all be dangerous if you don't handle them with care. And the point is, moderation matters. And that's how we should approach life. You can't live in fear. If you're constantly running from danger, you're not really living. Life is about facing those fears and understanding that sometimes you have to go through them to learn more about yourself. It's not easy, but it's the only way to truly understand what's going on inside you and around you. The world is like a stage. That's what life is. It's a play. And we're all actors in it. And without that stage, there's no play. Without the actors, there's no story. So yeah, life's full of illusions. But that doesn't mean it's not real. It's real in its own way. And the point is, you need to stay grounded. If you're exploring new ideas and new visions, you still need to stay connected with reality. You need a foundation. So here's the takeaway. Don't run from fear or the big questions. Face them. It might not be comfortable, but it's the only way to learn and grow. Life is more connected than we often realize. And once we understand that, things start to make a lot of sense. And that's all I've got for you today. I hope it gave you something to think about. Take some time to face your own fears, because they're probably not as scary as you think. Life is an opportunity to explore, to understand. Go for it. Perichoresis.